So we'll introduce you to our political correspondent, Fluky. Fluky, sorry to interrupt your slumber, but could you be so kind as to explain in under 2 minutes the advantages to liberalism in a democratic society? You have 2 minutes. You may begin now. You're being awfully quiet, Fluky. People are anticipating this interview. There you have it, folks. Our political correspondent, Fluky, says there are absolutely no advantages to liberalism in a democratic society. Hi there, it's Cage for Prepper Madness. I've got the coffee cup. We may proceed. The small engine compartment in these XJs with this big 4-liter engine, and the other thing they do, it's very well sealed. There's even a rubber seal back here along where the hood goes, and so it's very well sealed off the top. And then in the bottom there is a rubber mat to keep splashing and mud and stuff from coming up into the engine compartment. And so just at the very back, down at the bottom, by where the transmission and everything goes through, is just a tiny bit of space for all the hot air to leave the engine compartment. And so I've never had the problem, but other people have, of the engines getting hot and sometimes even overheating if you're pulling a trailer or doing some serious wheeling at low speed. Once you're going highway speed, the air coming through the radiator and the little bit that can get into places along the bottom removes a lot of that heat, but not all of it. So the solution is vents. So I have this vent here, and I have a hood scoop on top with a grate to keep bugs and birds out, and that is all the hot air from this engine compartment leaving. So anytime you're moving down the highway or the fans are running, which this clutch fan, even when it's not engaged, it still moves a little bit. So the other thing I did is I wanted to make things match on the hood, and I wanted to get better airflow for the engine, because down in here and the air goes into the engine. The problem is this tiny little hole is all it was getting for air. 2.5 inches by about 3 inches. That was it. Yet it has a massive air filter. I guess the designers figured that's all the air flow that this 4-liter engine producing 215 horsepower would need. The other problem is down in here, where it actually was getting its air from, is right beside the radiator. So even the air that comes, the fresh air that comes through the front, because from the factory bumper sealed this right off. So the air had to come, go past the radiators, through here, past the tank on the radiator, and get to the engine. Now you take into account that how sealed this all was. So even at highway speeds, the heat from the exhaust, which is right there, the heat from the radiator, all swirling around, and that's what the engine has been breathing its whole life, is very little really warm air. And I know there's all kinds of arguments. Oh, at highway speed there's enough flow, blah blah blah. I don't believe it. So I found this air cleaner. I went to a junkyard and I looked around, and I found on a 1992 Ford car, I found that air cleaner. And so the hole in the hood is that big. So now instead of that tiny hole for air, I'm getting all of this air, and also too, it's coming from above through the hood scoop, the air going past. So even on a super hot day outside, it's nowhere near what the engine compartment temperature would have been. So it's not getting cold air, it's getting cooler air, and it's getting more of it. and it seems to be running really well. I don't want to say I have more power or better mileage. The mileage thing, you know, over time as we do testing, and I don't have a dyno, so it's not like I can attest, but it seems like it's got a little more zip. I mean, I'm giving the air more, or I'm giving the engine more air. So let's have a look now at the top of the hood. So there are the hood scoops. So yes, those are paint trays. I trimmed off the legs and cleaned it up, cut holes in them, found some steel grates, riveted those in place, riveted these on, and this is the air coming in, that's the air going out, and there's still a couple little tweaks to the project. You can see I designed it to look good and follow the flow of the shape of the hood scoop, but rain does get in, so I did have to drill a couple tiny holes in the front of this one to drain air out. On that one it doesn't matter because any little rain that gets in will go through and into the engine compartment and get disintegrated. So the plan is, so this is one of the pieces that was cut out to make these holes, and I'll use it as a demonstration of what I'm going to build for the inside of both of these. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount inside in here, something like this. I'll probably do it out of tin or something like that. And all it'll be is so that when the rain comes in here, it will come out and drain away. And then if I am crazy enough to go wheeling and use my new snorkel, then again, less water splashing in. It's more for rain than snow than anything. And I'll do it to both sides, and I'll do it in a way so that there's still tons of air going past, getting into the engine, and lots of air can leave, so heat can leave the engine compartment. So another part of the project was I did want some kind of a snorkel, but I didn't want the big snorkels that you see that cost a lot of money, and I didn't want to put one. There are a lot of fellas, they'll drill holes here and they'll run a snorkel up that way. I didn't want any of that, and honestly this is my daily driver still, and I don't see myself, you know, putting it this deep into water unless it's a total emergency. But if I were to, you can see down here where it used to get its air from, it's actually from this point here up to this point right here, it's actually 16.5 inches difference. So I did create a bit of a snorkel. Here's a view, top side of the hood during the project, showing how the hole cutouts look and how the air filter sits. This shows how nicely the air box I chose fits while the hood is closed. And here's a view from the driver's seat during your driving. Doesn't take away from your view. Well, there you have it, folks. That's the hood project for my Jeep Cherokee XJ project. And I'm happy with the results. Yep, I need paint just like the rest of the unit, and it'll get it. If you liked the video, please subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Thanks for watching. It's Cage for Prepper Madness. See ya.